What happens when Formula One's most unflappable rookie finally cracks? That's exactly the question after Oscar Piastri's nightmare in Baku. The silent assassin of McLaren, usually the definition of calm under pressure, turned the Azerbaijan Grand Prix into a demolition reel of mistakes. From crashing in Q3 to a false start at lights out and finally smashing into the barriers at Turn 5, this was not the Piastri we've come to know. And just when critics were ready to pounce, Mark Webber, his manager and Australian F1 legend, sent a private message that Robert Doornbos leaked to Ziggo. Oscar is only human. A rare glimpse behind the curtain, showing how even the coolest talents in F1 are not immune to pressure. But here's the real twist. While Piastri stumbled, Max Verstappen, four-time champion and relentless predator, closed the gap with back-to-back wins. Suddenly, what looked like a one-man march to the crown has become a fight dripping with tension. Do you think this was just one bad weekend, or has the pressure of the title fight finally cracked Piastri's armor? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. How do you manage a driver who suddenly looks mortal after months of being untouchable? That's the challenge facing Mark Webber right now. The 9-time Grand Prix winner has been Piastri's mentor and manager since the junior days, shaping his career with the same steel he showed during his Red Bull battles with Sebastian Vettel. But in Baku, Webber wasn't barking orders or spinning excuses. Instead, his words were simple: only human. That's powerful, because in F1, drivers are often treated like machines. Flawless, untiring, always precise. By admitting Piastri's vulnerability, Webber may have just saved him from being buried under the weight of criticism. Robert Doornbos, the ex-Red Bull man who revealed the text, highlighted that Piastri doesn't have Verstappen's decade of experience. And that's the key contrast. Oscar is leading the championship in his sophomore season, while Verstappen has been hardened by battles with Hamilton and Ferrari. Is Webber protecting Piastri from the storm, or subtly reminding the world, and McLaren, that greatness takes time? Drop your thoughts below, and if you're enjoying this deep dive, give the video a like to push it out to more F1 fans. Here's where the story takes a sharper edge. While Piastri was busy hitting barriers and stalling on the grid, Lando Norris had the perfect chance to strike. Yet, he didn't. Starting 7th, Norris failed to capitalize, leaving McLaren with nothing but embarrassment in Baku. But make no mistake, the civil war at McLaren chatter is back. Because now, with only 25 points between them, Norris smells blood. He's no longer just Oscar's teammate, he's his title rival. The British press are already framing this as Norris rules, while Australian fans cling to the papaya principles that say McLaren should back their silent assassin. This isn't new for the team. Think back, Prost versus Senna, Hamilton versus Alonso, even Ricciardo versus Norris had its tensions. McLaren has a history of boiling over when both cars are competitive. The difference this time? The world is watching two of the sport's brightest young stars duel inside the same garage, and one of them just blinked. So tell me, is Norris quietly building momentum, or was Baku just a missed opportunity? Comment below, and don't forget, subscribing now means you'll be part of every twist in this title fight. While McLaren wrestled with its own implosion in Baku, one man didn't hesitate. Max Verstappen, the reigning 4-time world champion, did exactly what champions do. He pounced. Back-to-back victories have slashed Piastri's lead down to 69 points, and with 7 rounds left, that's enough to make the paddock whisper, could the king be back for a 5th crown? Remember, Verstappen thrives on chaos. When others falter, he sharpens his focus. As Robert Doornbos noted, Verstappen's advantage is not just raw speed, but battle scars. He's fought Hamilton in title-deciding duels, carried Red Bull through dominance, and knows exactly how to exploit weakness. Piastri, by contrast, is still tasting his first season under the suffocating glare of a title fight. This is the danger. One bad weekend can become a turning point, the moment where the cool rookie learns that winning races is one thing, but defending a championship against Max Verstappen, that's another battlefield entirely. What do you think? Is Verstappen genuinely back in the fight, or are we hyping up a ghost chase? Drop your verdict below, and if you want to see how this story unfolds, hit like so more fans join the debate. Up until Baku, Piastri carried a reputation that bordered on mythical. Fans called him the silent assassin, calm, calculated, and ice-cold under pressure. He didn't flinch when chasing podiums, didn't blink in wheel-to-wheel fights, and certainly didn't panic in qualifying. But Azerbaijan changed everything. A crash in Q3, a botched start, and a clumsy exit into the barriers, it wasn't just one mistake, it was a collapse. And in Formula One, aura matters. Once rivals see weakness, they pounce harder. That's why Verstappen, Norris, even Ferrari will now push Oscar with a new intensity, because the untouchable rookie suddenly looks touchable. Mark Webber's message, "only human," was meant to shield him, but in some ways it also admitted the truth. Piastri can crack. The challenge now is not repairing the car, it's repairing the myth. Does a single disastrous weekend erase the aura of invincibility, or do great champions rise stronger from their worst moments? Let me know below, and subscribe if you want to track whether the silent assassin makes his comeback. If you think the fight is only happening on track, think again. The media is already sharpening their knives. In the UK, the story is simple. Lando Norris is finally proving he's the true leader at McLaren. Headlines flirt with "Norris rules," while commentators push the idea that Piastri's mistakes were inevitable under pressure. But in Australia, the narrative couldn't be more different. Piastri is still the great hope, the natural heir to Alan Jones and Mark Webber, carrying the weight of a nation desperate for a champion. His collapse in Baku is being spun not as a downfall, but as a necessary lesson on the road to glory. Webber himself, Australia's most seasoned F1 warrior since Jack Brabham's legacy, is doubling down to protect that storyline. This clash of narratives matters. Perception shapes pressure. If Piastri is painted as vulnerable in Europe while worshipped at home, every mistake will sting harder in the global spotlight. And for Norris, the British press is fuel. They love a homegrown hero toppling the quiet Aussie invader. Do you buy into the British bias angle? Or is this just fair reporting on who's truly stronger? Comment your take and hit like if you want more behind-the-scenes truth the headlines won't say out loud. If you think Piastri's Baku collapse is unique, think again. Formula One history is littered with young talent stumbling under the brightest lights. Hamilton in 2007, rookie season leading the title fight, then a dramatic slide in the final rounds. Or Mark Webber himself in 2010, pushing Vettel to the limit only to crack at the crucial moment in Abu Dhabi. These moments remind us raw talent can get you to the fight, but championship composure is forged in scars, not sunshine. Piastri's nightmare in Azerbaijan might feel catastrophic now, but in 5 years, we could look back on it as the crucible that hardened him into a champion. That's the duality. Every era can be either the start of a downfall or the spark of transformation. Hamilton turned his early heartbreak into a 7-time legacy. Webber never did. Which path will Oscar take? That's why you can't miss the next chapter of this story. So hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because history tells us the drama is only just beginning. So now the stage is set. Piastri leaves Baku bruised, both in points and in pride, while Norris and Verstappen circle like sharks. 7 rounds remain, and Singapore is next, a street circuit notorious for punishing the smallest mistake. For a driver trying to rebuild confidence, it's either the worst place or the perfect redemption stage. Oscar himself insists he's not rattled, saying he just needs to get back to where I know I can be. But words are easy. On track, under the floodlights of Marina Bay, every breaking point and every restart will be a test of whether the silent assassin can truly rise again. The question now divides fans everywhere. Will Singapore mark the rebirth of a champion in the making, or the moment the title fight slips away for good? And if Verstappen or Norris strike there, McLaren's dream season could spiral into chaos. Tell me in the comments, does Piastri bounce back in Singapore, or is this the start of a collapse? And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to keep fueling this debate, because the next race might just decide the story of 2025.